Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully you all can just take a few seconds to get yourself settled, and then we will go ahead and get started. So just again, I want to thank you guys all for joining us for our web today. You know, the awesome title, Your Marketing Funnel is a Hot Mess. So we're so happy to have our presenters today. Michael is from GetResponse. He is our content marketing manager. And also so happy to have Erin Sagan with us today of WordStream. So she is their PPC evangelist and community manager. And so a couple of housekeeping things before I hand it over to Erin. This webinar is being recorded, and we're going to send it to all of you hopefully by the end of this week. So have no fear, you will have the opportunity to watch this again or share it with your colleagues if you'd like. We are going to send it to you via email at the end of the week. We also are going to have, hopefully, if there's time for it, a brief Q&A session with Erin and Michael at the end of the webinar. So please hold your topical questions until the end of the webinar, and then we will do our best to make sure we get all of those answered for you. So without any further delay, thank you guys again, and I will hand it over.
Thanks so much, Abby. And thanks for the introduction. Just a quick review so you guys know exactly who we are. This is Michael and I. I have been working at Rich about 4 years now, so I'm quite a PPC aficionado. I'm happy to answer any of your PPC questions if you guys have those at the end. And also am happy to answer anything via Twitter. So as you guys go through the presentation, if there's anything else that you want to tweet me or DM me on, I'm pretty active about checking it, and I love answering questions and doing follow-up from these webinars. So today we're talking about how so many people's marketing funnels are just a disaster. And before we dive in and look at those kind of disastrous areas, Michael and I wanted to quickly review, what your funnel looks like. So as you think of your marketing funnel, I like to think of it like one of those ice cream cones you got at the beach as a kid. That top section with the ice cream and sprinkles, that's the top of your funnel. And the goal there is you really just want to get people to your website, introduce people to your company. And that's a lot of what I'm going to be talking about. Then you want to think about the middle of the funnel, that cone, and that's where you're nurturing those leads, taking those needs and encouraging them to engage with you. Finally, when we look at the bottom of that funnel, that's where you want to get the lead to choose you, ultimately leading to the conversion, which I like to think is that little bit of chocolate at the bottom of the cone. When we talk about the funnel today, this is what we're talking about. This is the process that we're looking at. And though it seems really simple and straightforward, unfortunately, most of our funnels are riddled with some sort of problem. So we'll touch on those today and show you how you can resolve them. So let's start with problem number 1, which is your funnel is at the risk of being extinguished. And I see this all too frequently. Right, you want to be filling that funnel. If you're not filling the funnel, it's going to dry up very, very quickly. It's great if you have tons of leads that you can nurture and convince to convert. But once you run out of those people, if you're not actively thinking about how you're refilling that funnel and constantly have new lead flow coming in, yourself in a very, very sticky situation. So when I ask many of our clients here how they are initially filling their funnels, they often say SEO, right? SEO, it's easy, it is inexpensive, right? Unfortunately, SEO is incredibly turbulent and oftentimes unreliable. So if you're solely relying on these organic listings to provide leads to you, one small change with Google, you could find yourself with an empty funnel. And many of you guys, if you're involved with SEO, you're aware how quickly these changes come about. We think about Pigeon, Panda, Hummingbird, right? They're all these really scary changes that almost seem to happen overnight when Google flips the switch. Not only is SEO turbulent, we also see that organic listings tend to be really boring. And when I look at it here, you can see in the blue area is where our paid search listings are, and the black area is the organic listings. And people are actually more likely to click on those paid listings, even though they're ads. In fact, 65% of people who are doing high intent searches are actually opting to go for the paid ads over the organic listings. So if you're solely relying on organic listings, you're cutting out a huge portion of potential leads to flow in. And you may wonder to yourself, like, who the heck is clicking on these ads, right? Everyone knows they're ads. We see these little yellow banners indicating they're ads. Google's not trying to trick us into doing it. The reality is the ads are more compelling. They have images. They have extensions showing locations and phone numbers and sales, right? These ads are so much more valuable to the searcher that even though they're ads, they're clicking on them anyway. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I can rely on organic, well, probably shouldn't be solely relying on organic because not only is it turbulent, but people are more likely to click on ads. And what's even scarier are these millennials. So, we often look to younger people to see what the future of advertising is going to look like. It's a pretty good way to take the temperature for the future. When we look at millennials are even more likely to click on ads than older people. So as we start to advertise more and more to these people whose wallets are growing and they're becoming more our target audience, we need to be thinking about ensuring that we have ads showing because they're not going to click on those organic listings. What's even scarier is when we look at the trends with mobile. Mobile is also killing SEO. The reason being, well, first off, we're seeing there are more mobile searches occurring than desktop searches, right? Officially this year, mobile surpassed desktop. So it's critical that you're showing up on mobile phones. But look at the mobile phone results on the right. When I look for a plumber here in Boston and I do a search on my phone, I don't even see organic listings. In fact, it took me 2 scrolls before I got down to the organic listings. And that's because on these teensy tiny little screens, the ads are taking up so much space that they're shoving the organic listings down the page and they're not even appearing. Right? Those of you who are only doing SEO out there, you should be nervous when you see this. Because as more searches happen on mobile, the likelihood of you filling this funnel is going to get lower and lower if you're not using paid ads. Now, I don't mean to be too much of like a terror mongerer, but I have another scary thing to show you. And when you look at this page, you might notice that if you're in PPC, you'll definitely notice there's something odd going on with this SERP. And here's what it is. Not only do we have 3 ads appearing, we have 4 ads. And this is a trend that we're just now starting to see on Google. Now, it's not an exception to the rule. Every search you see, you're probably not seeing 4 ads, but this is the first time we've seen Google tack on a 4th ad on the SERP. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see this continue, right? This is Google's main source of revenue. Advertising is huge for them. If they can get away with a 4th ad on there, they're probably going to start doing it. So SEOs should be prepared for this. SEOs can start to see their results get pushed further and further down the page. And again, that just makes it critically important that you're not solely doing SEO to fill that funnel. So what should you be doing? What is the solution to this kind of scary situation that a lot of us are seeing? Well, supplement your SEO efforts with paid search. I'm not saying stop doing SEO. I would never say that. I actually think SEO is great for a lot of people, but it certainly can't be the be-all, end-all that you're relying on. Paid search is great because it's not as turbulent, right? It has a very clean auction process, and because we're paying for it, Google has to be more consistent with how they provide the results. With paid search, it's all about this auction system. So as long as you're ensuring that your ads are relevant and you're bidding competitively, you can be guaranteed that you're going to show up on that search, right? Definitely a little bit more reliable than SEO. And along with paid search, another thing we like to encourage people to do is consider the content that they're using to engage new fans. Create content that's really exciting for people in your space and that's going to help them engage with your brand more. So WordStream, we have an awesome, I guess I'm biased, but I like to think it's awesome blog here. And what you'll notice, we're a PPC company. We have software that helps you manage your PPC account. We don't do anything with Etsy marketing or Google Maps, but you see these are some of our most popular posts in the last month. One about Twitter emojis, life-changing marketing stats, Etsy strategies, Google Maps strategy. So why do we write these articles if they're not directly related to what we're doing here in-house at WordStream? We write these articles because they help to engage new fans, people who we know are working in this general online marketing space. And if we can introduce them to WordStream through this content, over time they'll be more interested in our brand. We can start to engage them with some of the content that is a little bit further down the funnel, specific to our offer. So turn to paid search, turn to content, use that in conjunction with your SEO effort. That's tip number 1. Let's go to problem number 2. Problem number 2 is, and this happens all the time with paid search, you treat all of your paid traffic equally. The thing here is you actually can learn a lot about a searcher from the keywords they type in. In fact, look at this search I did the other day. I indicated that I was a woman, that I was looking for this very specific product, black suede over-the-knee boots, and my shoe size, 5.5, right? So I just gave you a ton of information about me and what I'm looking for. And as advertisers, we need to take this information and use it to our advantage, right? Every keyword is not the same. The keywords that people are typing in can give you a ton of information about where they are in the buying cycle, and you can use it to your advantage. So consider keyword intent, right? We have these navigational keywords, people who are looking for things. We have informational keywords, people who are literally using the internet to learn about something. And then finally, transactional keywords. Navigational and informational keywords, they're not necessarily bad things. You definitely want to show up for them in some situations. But they're probably not these words that you're like, I have to show up on the list or on the SERP for these words, because they're not people who are highly, highly likely to convert and make a purchase. Transactional keywords are a totally different story. These are people who are ready to buy, who are looking for something specific, and we absolutely should be putting our best foot forward for these terms. So these high commercial intent keywords, these are things you should really be thinking about, these buy now keywords and product-based keywords. And instead of just showing you this ugly chart, I have an example. So earlier this year, we hit wedding season. I'm 27 years old. Literally half of my friends got married this summer. The other half will probably get married next summer. And let me tell you, I have spent more money than I ever intended to on these marriages. And I pray they all work out, given what they've done to my wallet. So here's a couple examples where I was ready to buy, and you can tell from my keywords. So example number 1, I had to buy a dress. I was in my friend's wedding. She was a little bit of a Bridezilla. And frankly, she told me exactly what she wanted me to wear. The color, the style, the brand. All I had to do was plug in my size, plug in my payment information, and I was buying that dress. And from the keyword that I searched, it's very clear that I know what I want, because I've given you the color, the style, the brand, and the size. I'm not researching gray dresses. I'm not researching dresses of a certain brand. I know exactly what I want, the color, the size, the brand, ready to go. This is an indication that I am ready to make a purchase. So for terms like this, these product-specific terms, absolutely we want to make sure your ads are showing for them and you're putting your best foot forward. Another example, when I was ready to buy the gift. All right, so as you can see here, when I was ready to buy the gift, I knew exactly what I wanted, a Crate and Barrel gift card. And I told Google I was ready to buy. Because that one term in there, I said buy. I could say purchase, I could say order, any of these transactional terms indicating that I am ready to take action is a sign to you, the advertiser, that I am ready to make a purchase You definitely want to show up. You want your ad to appear in a good position when I do a search like this. And finally, this is a little bit rarer. 2 days before my friend's wedding, I broke my tooth. And given that this is a Bridezilla who is very, very picky about how I appeared in her photos, I knew walking down the aisle with a broken tooth was definitely not going to fly. So I had this emergency situation on my hands, and I was desperately looking for a dentist. I didn't care who the dentist was. All I cared is that I could call them, make an appointment, and get my freaking tooth fixed before I had to walk down the aisle. So this is an example of an emergency term. If your particular service or business that you're advertising for deals with emergency situations, I'm thinking plumber, locksmith, HVAC, dentist, right? You want to make sure that you are bidding on these emergency specific terminology, and you want to make sure that you are prioritizing these terms. Because again, this person, me, who broke my tooth, I'm likely to convert because I am desperate. So solution number 2, when you find these high intent keywords, don't treat them like every other keyword. Prioritize them and ensure that you're showing. And I don't just mean guessing. I don't mean, thinking like, okay, every term that says buy, I'm definitely going to, bid up on. Right? Go in and verify this. Look at terms that are converting already, and those are terms to prioritize. And don't just look at keywords you're already bidding on that are converting. Look at your search query report and look at terms that you're not necessarily bidding on, but you're showing up for via a broad, modified broad, or phrase match type. And if you see that there are terms that you're not currently bidding on that are yielding conversions, especially at a high rate, absolutely add them to your account and again, prioritize these terms. And when I say prioritize, I mean you should be making your bidding adjustments accordingly. Right? The key for these high intent terms is that you're appearing high up on the page where we know you're more likely to have a better click-through rate. So make sure you're bidding to ensure visibility, bid higher on these terms, bid more aggressively, ensure you have bid modifiers on place because God knows you want to show for these terms on mobile, particularly those emergency terms. So make sure you're bidding up on them and also keeping your quality scores in mind. Because as anyone who does PPC knows, it's not just about the bid, it's also about making sure that you have relevant information that you're showing to ensure you're getting the quality score discount. All right. And that brings me to problem number 3, which is, unfortunately, many of us have a very leaky funnel. And here's what I mean by that. Most visitors don't convert right off the bat. Right? You don't take a girl out on a first date and expect her to go home with you that night. You have to work for it a little bit. And it's the same way with your traffic, right? Especially if you are working with a high dollar product. So consider a user's decision-making cycle. I am desperately trying to go to Brazil, right? It's beautiful. Why not? And I have been all over travel sites looking to book the perfect vacation for myself. I've been doing tons of research on flights, on vacation packages, hotels, the whole 9 yards. And it's kind of a teaser, right? Because I'm landing up on all these different websites and they're probably like, oh, hopefully she'll convert. But I'm hightailing it out of there because I'm continuing to do my research. Don't expect me to make the decision on the first try. Be prepared for people to come and hopefully come back and convert. But it won't always be right off the bat. And it's not just because the decision-making cycles can be long. It's also because of us, right? It's not you, the advertiser. It's me, the human. It's tough for me to make a purchase. I get distracted easily. In fact, when I look at a goldfish versus a person, let's say my boss, which one do you think has a longer attention span? I'm sad to report to all of you that we humans have shorter attention spans than a goldfish. And it makes sense when you think about it, right? In the digital age, there's tons of pop-ups. You're getting emails. You're getting text messages, notifications, right? As more and more of these things come in and you're pummeled with this information, it's hard to stay on task with what you're doing. Let alone we have everything going on around us, right? You know, your doorbell rings, someone interrupts you. It's hard to complete a purchase online. So you have to account for people's short attention span and just have a little bit of tenacity. And when I say tenacity, I mean keep going. You can patch this leaky funnel with remarketing. Remarketing is the best way to stay top of mind for these interested prospects. You know, think back to me trying to book a vacation to Brazil. I'm interested. I want to do it. I want to book a flight, but I'm looking at 10 different websites for a flight, and I'm getting distracted as I do it. What if you could come back to me and remind me about the flight I liked? That's how remarketing works. You take a visitor who's come to your website, meaning they are highly relevant. They're already interested in you. They leave for whatever reason, and then you continue to show your ad to them on other sites, prompting them to return and complete the purchase. This is a really genius process. And you can remarket to people not just who have come through paid search, but people who have come organically, people who have come to your site directly. If they leave, you can continue to show them your ads as they go about their business online. And remarketing works like a charm. I know this because this dress that you see right here caused me to overdraw my bank account a couple years ago. It was absurdly expensive, and I had no business to be buying it. I'd seen it online. I really liked it. Actually put it in the shopping cart just like for kicks and never completed the purchase. And this advertiser pummeled me with ads, to the point where I almost felt like it was meant to be, like I needed to buy this dress because it was in my mind. And actually, we see that the more frequently you see an ad, up to 6 times, the more likely you are to buy it. This genius advertiser was pummeling me left and right with ads, and I gave in to the point where I literally didn't have the money to buy it, but I bought the dress anyway. That's how remarketing works. It gets in your head and to the point where you're ready to make a purchase. And so take advantage of these people who are interested in you, who have already spent time on your site. And rather than letting them fall right out of your funnel just because they get distracted or see someone else's information, bring them back with remarketing. You'll thank yourself if you do it. And then finally, the last issue that I see frequently is that people underestimate some of the top prospects. And who are those top prospects? They're your existing clients. If you can keep your existing customers happy, you can squeeze so much juice out of them. You can get so much more out of this relationship and continue to sell to them. Now, of course, this isn't going to happen for every industry. There's certainly industries where it's kind of a one and done purchase, but the vast majority, you can take advantage of this solution. So cross-sell, upsell, resell. Take advantage of these existing customers, encourage them to come back and make purchases with you using identity-based paid search. So think about it this way. Let's say you buy a dress from a website. Why stop at the dress? That advertiser might be able to sell you shoes, earrings, a bag. They know you bought that dress. They know the dress you bought, the size you bought it in. They know your email address. You've already made a purchase, right? So this advertiser can really go crazy with continuing to advertise to you. Facebook has this cool thing called custom audiences, where essentially you can upload segments of your email database. It will match to those people on Facebook and show them the ads of your choosing. So you can take everyone who bought a particular dress and sell them, upload their email addresses and sell them matching shoes on Facebook, right? Because you have this valuable information about them. Why not continue to sell to them? Sell them accessories that match something that they bought from you. Or even just encourage them to come back. If you're a hair salon and they've gotten a haircut from you, in 3 months, it's probably time for them to get another trim. So use this strategy to reach them accordingly. And what's even cooler is Google recently saw the success that Facebook was having with identity-based targeting, and they piggybacked on it. So if you're doing paid search, you may not have seen this come out. It's very, very new. But essentially with this new customer match feature, it's the same process. You upload the emails from your database, you match them via Google, and then you can show them your ads on YouTube, Google, or Gmail. And this is huge. This is a great way to ensure that you can take people who you already know like you are using your products. You have rich data on them and continue to sell to them. So those are my 4 tips for the funnel. I will go ahead and pass it on to Michael to finish us off with the last 4.
Thanks a lot, Erin. I really hope that your tooth is feeling much better right now after it was fixed. So yeah, let's go down a little bit towards the middle and the bottom of our ice cream cone funnel. So one of the big problems, the conversion killers that we see is you do quite a good job with getting a lot of quality traffic on your website. And at this point, many marketers just expect everyone to join their email list. That they're gonna go into their website, read an article, download simply look out for the sign up form. Well, the reality is that not everyone or hardly anyone is actually going to do that. So the conversion killer here is expecting others to do the job for you. So whenever you have a website, let's take a look at Harper's Bazaar. You cannot play hide and seek with your audience. If you want them to sign up to your mailing list, you should show it straight away to them. It of course depends on the business that you're in, but most marketers, if they offer sign-up forms, they want them to be readily seen and available for their audience. So let's consider this data. If it takes only 1 second to reduce the conversions by 7%, how much do you reckon your sign-up form conversions are going to go down if someone cannot see readily your sign-up form? So this is the first part here. You do have a button that says subscribe, so perhaps you could see that. But in this case, since it's a magazine, Harper's Bazaar is a magazine, if you click on that link, you would be able to sign up to their monthly order of magazines rather than sign up to their sign-up form. Only if you click here on the menu bar, you could sign up to their mailing list. And this takes us to the second part of it. So playing hide and seek and not showing any reasons for signing up to a list. So audiences, subscribers, and website users are going to look out for benefits for them. They're going to ask the same question: what's in it for me? If they see your sign-up form, they should know straight away what it says and what they will receive in response for their email address. Email address itself is very sensitive data for them. They don't want to share it with everyone. It's not as easy as giving out your Facebook or Twitter login. People do think twice before leaving your sign-up form. And if it doesn't say here what's the reason, what are the benefits, the motives to sign up for this list, people will probably not leave their email address with you unless they are big fans of your brand. So another thing that kills conversions with sign-up forms is asking for everything all at once. So this is a sign-up form for a webinar that I wanted to attend, and I understand that these fields are important. So my first name, my last name, the company I work for, the job title, the salary, etc., etc. Of course, there wasn't a question about the salary, but you can imagine that if I have to fill out that many fields at the same time, and all of them are required, I will think more than twice whether this webinar is for me. And in fact, I did not convert here. I did not sign up, even though this was an important webinar for me. In terms of email marketing. But if you want to ask your audiences a question, you should think more than for a second whether you need all this information right now. Can you ask for it later? So the solution to this conversion killer is quite simple. Optimize your forms. So you need to look at what your audience is seeing and think whether they will want to sign up for your list. Is it important for them to sign up to the list? Do they see the benefits of it? And well, is it easy to sign up for your list? So one of the solutions here is to make it pop. I know, light boxes and sign-up forms that pop out of your website are ugly. No one likes them really, but as marketers, we have to look at the conversions and whether the sign-ups actually match. So this is an example from Smart Insights. We did a webinar earlier this year with Dave Chaffee, and what they did, they tested whether the sign-up forms that pop out of their website are going to bring any benefits to them. And since they like data, they looked at two more, very important metrics: how many people subscribe to their lists, and how many people bounce off their website and opt out later on from their email list. So as you can see on the left, the bounce rate slightly increased once they had the pop-up, which means it is partly, it's a bit annoying for the people that join their list, enter their website. However, it's not a big difference. It's only 0.5%. And if you look at the sign-up, the subscription rate, the difference is quite high. It's more than 1.5%. So at this point, you might think this is worth actually trying. So if you can work on making your sign-up form more visible, try it out, and perhaps don't show it straight away to your audience. Give them a few seconds or a couple of minutes to read through your content and see whether this is something that they will like. And afterwards, present them with a form, just showing it plainly what they will benefit from if they sign up to your list. So whenever preparing a sign-up form, as mentioned, you need to work on the benefits. Here is a second example of a magazine or their website. So as you can see, it's similar to Harper's Bazaar. You cannot see readily a sign-up form here. Again, the button here, subscribe, does not lead you to the place where you can sign up to an email list. It's here if you click on the menu bar. But once you go to their sign-up form, it looks completely different to what we could see in the past. Here you can see straight away, if you sign up for our newsletter, you're going to benefit from daily emails on celebrity style, beauty tips, culture news, and more. Or if you want to add another subscription, you can get more daily fashion news, runway coverage, etc., etc. So here, I can straight away see what I will receive, what I'll benefit from if I leave my email address here. So, okay, it took us quite a bit to find this sign-up form, but then again, once you get there, once you're that determined to sign up, you can see clearly what you're gonna get in response. So what you're gonna get back from this brand. And whenever you're preparing your sign-up form, you have to do both at the same time. So focus on benefits, but take it slow. When I mentioned how many fields I had to fill out on the previous sign-up form, which allowed me to sign up for a webinar, you could see that it could kill some conversions if I asked our audience to sign up to to fill out 8 different fields at the same time. Here, you just have one field, and you know that you're gonna get 10% off of your first order, or you're gonna get a nice 10 free video lessons to help you optimize your Facebook page. Simple forms, they don't need to be very complex. Of course, you can test them, and you should test them, the copy on it, the colors of the call to action buttons, when they appear, or what they look like. But one simple field, it should be enough to start the conversation going. And you can ask for, for the next questions, or for example, their job title or whatever that they do at work later on via email survey or another solution. So this brings us to our second or sixth problem, which is you're treating your new leads like any other subscribers. And if you look at your own email list, I'm sure that you're gonna notice this, that most of the audiences are most active, most engaged at the beginning of subscription. First 2 weeks, they will open pretty much every single email of yours. They will click on your ads, they will watch your ads, and they will be interested in what you have to say. But that doesn't mean that you should be treating them the same as everyone else. So let's consider this example here. So I've signed up to Williams Sonoma newsletter, and as you can see, the first email started on the 6th here of June. The next one only arrived 4 days later, which is not bad. I don't mind receiving, you know, another letter, another email from them 4 days later. But what happens next is something that's a bit overwhelming for a new audience, for someone who doesn't know if they're ready to commit. So I got an email on the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and so on. Every single day, another newsletter. And you can imagine that at this point, I felt overwhelmed. I didn't want to read all of those emails. I didn't want to respond to them. Of course, if I'm really big fan of their brand, they probably would have noticed that I'm still ordering. But if I'm someone new, perhaps they should be trying it more slowly, especially if I get to see all the subject lines at the same time. If it says today only, last day, etc., I can straight away see that the ads and, you know, the campaigns that they're running are pretty much every single day. So if I miss this one, it doesn't really matter, because the next one will be the next day. So at this point, you know, the conversion killer is just sending too many emails and not treating your new audience any differently from everyone else. So the solution to this is segmentation and personalization. It's pretty simple. You should be treating your audience by the topics that they like, by the interests of theirs, and by the behavior that they have. So here's an example of what Left Brain, an agency, came up whenever they were trying to come up with personas, so people that they wanted to communicate. They decided to look at different stages of the customer lifecycle and the expertise levels that these audiences presented. So you can see that you have quite early personas, mid and late. So you can imagine these are the people that know a bit about your brand or know about the problem that they have and the solution that you're presenting. And you have people that know everything absolutely about your brand and they are interested in pricing only. Or you have people that have already used your solution and are pretty much ready to go if you have a nice promotional campaign. So if you look at this model here, you can come up with questions that these different audiences are going to be asking themselves. So are they already ready to to decide whether they should sign up, or should you first present them the answers to their general questions? So what's the best email marketing software, or why do you need email marketing software, rather than saying that we have a promotional campaign right now. So you should be asking questions and, you know, wearing your customer's hats. So you can do that, for example, by presenting a readily made sign-up form with questions. TRX, if you're, you know, CrossFit junkie, you should probably know this brand. So what they're doing whenever you open their website, they ask you a simple question: what describes you best? Do you work out at home, or are you a fitness professional, or manage a gym, or are a member of military first responders? So at this point, if you answer this one question, which is pretty simple, it doesn't take that much time, they should be able to tailor the messages to fit exactly your needs and your preferences. So quick question, and you can simply segment the list the way you want it. Or you can send out a survey in an email or a website, just asking a few questions on how to make the experience much better for you. So presenting better communication and better solutions to your needs. Here's another great suggestion from Dave Chaffee. So whenever you're communicating with your audience, I imagine that no one wants to create many emails at the same time. They don't want to send out 50 versions of the same email. So what you can do is take the data that you have about your audience. So the types of the offers that they've clicked on, the emails that they've opened, which products they've seen last on your website, or which products did they order. So here's an example of an email that uses all of this data right now. So you can see that even though it looks pretty simple, I mean, it's presenting many products at the same time, these products haven't been chosen randomly. Well, here you have the short thank you message for signing up to the list. Here you have an example, a quick copy explaining why someone is receiving the email. But here you get a hero shot of the image of a product that has been viewed last. So the person who entered your website will know straight away, oh yeah, I remember seeing this cupboard, I remember seeing this piece of furniture. Perhaps I want to buy it, especially if it's on offer. Or if they've looked on something else in the past or clicked on another offer, perhaps show it somewhere at the bottom so that they can recognize it as well. The rest of the pictures don't have to be connected with something that they've done in the past. You can also source information on other users, what they have clicked on in the past, what other products they have bought in combination with these. So use all of this information in your email, and you can be sure that they will appreciate your communication. So here's another great information or piece of content from Marketing Sherpa, a case study on technology advice. This is a service that connects vendors and buyers that want to sell and buy pieces of software that will answer their needs. So as you can imagine, whoever enters this website can write a question that they have. So for example, best image design products, or best vector design products, etc. So once they enter this website, they click and fill out the forms that they want. You will be presented with different answers. So you can use ads, you can use emails. So the problem that they had, let me just go back in the past, one slide. So that the problem that they had was the inbound traffic was getting too big, and they didn't have enough people to call up on each subscriber, each person that entered the website, and present them with a special offer, ideas on the best software that they may need. They decided to automate this process and send out drip campaigns. So anyone that filled out this form and left their email address, instead of being contacted by phone, they could be contacted automatically by emails. So this is good because people at the top of the funnel, they might not be ready to pick up the phone and discuss their needs with someone. Perhaps they were searching and they don't want to devote that yet. But you have people that are going to be searching typically for the whole group of products that they may be interested in, or just might be writing that they want to receive the price listings or very, very specific products. So they've gathered all this data and decided to automate the communication process and used it in their email campaigns. As you can see here, you have two emails that look pretty much the same but present two different offers. You have an article, a piece of content that describes the gamification platforms for SMBs. So you could see straight away who the target audience was. And you have a piece of content on 4 enterprise-ready gamification platforms. At this point, you know straight away who was supposed to receive these emails. And you can see that if someone is in SMB, they will prefer this message because it answers directly their questions. And if someone is in a big company and they want enterprise level solutions, they will be interested more in this type of content. So they did that for more than one simple message. They did that for most of their messages, presenting different products, different solutions, and different copy for their audiences. So depending on the point of the funnel, the part of the funnel that they've been in, and depending on the questions they've asked, they presented different messages and copy. So here you can see that automating this process has increased their open rates and click-through rates quite significantly, and it has taken away some work of their of their shoulders, because they don't have to call up on everyone. They can nurture their audience, send out emails with good content that these people want to read about. And once that they see that they have scored high, they are good quality leads. They've read the content, downloaded it, asked someone on the chat, or went to the website and checked the prices. They will know at this point that it's time to call them up. So let's take a look at another conversion killer, which is you neglect mobile audience. And as Erin mentioned, this is a big problem. Mobile is completely different environment than desktop when it comes to searching on websites, looking for websites, but also when it comes to reading emails. So one big problem is preparing website or email, but not in combination, not at the same time to be mobile optimized. So for example, imagine someone that has a good website, but their sign-up form isn't optimized for mobile. So you have you have quite a bit of fields, so many fields to fill out, and you have quite a small CTA button. So using your thumb, it will be difficult to fill it out. Click on that, you agree to all the terms and conditions. Or the other way around, if you have a mobile optimized email and you want to purchase something, and you go to their website and you see that the website isn't optimized, or there is no mobile checkout. These are important elements, and everything has to be done at the same time. So you would think that this is a standard these days, but unfortunately it's not. Looking at the data from eConsultancy, what you can see that even in 2015, which is about to end, not everyone is going for responsive design, mobile optimized websites, or emails. It is a good, the direction is good. People are changing their sites, but not everyone is doing that still these days. So what you can definitely do at this moment to solve this problem is go responsive when it comes to designing your websites and emails and all the other communication that you're preparing. So this is how you should be preparing your emails and websites at the same time. So if you go to a website on a desktop, you can see everything that's important: the menu, the navigation bar, and the CTA, the call to action button that allows you to order, for example, pizza in this case. When it comes to seeing the website on a mobile device or an email, it should be the same. However, the emphasis should be slightly different. So the information should be more compact, and you should be, perhaps showing smaller images, but large enough for people to be able to click with their thumb, and adding more white spaces around the call to action buttons, and making it in a way that they can easily navigate through it. They can see all the information at the same time without having to scroll 10 or 15 times. Imagine, you want to promote a product that is at the bottom of your email. If it's on a desktop, it's quite fine. Without scrolling, you can see all of them at the same time. But if you do it for a mobile device, it's not going to be as easy, and no one's going to want to go that far to see this one product that's featured. So that takes us to the last conversion killer, which is you never learn. And that goes, that covers all the types of communication that you choose. And if you use PPC or email, it's all important to look at the data, the statistics and analytics. So everything that you have about your audience and what they do, what they like. So one of the biggest problems is not treating your audience differently, but also selling from the day one. So people these days, many marketers, unfortunately, they started building the email lists years and years ago, let's say 10 or 15 years ago, and they keep on sending them the same messages, yet expect different results. So imagine that you'd be sending out the same type of emails as William Sonoma was doing for a year or two. You can imagine that part of your audience is going to be, let's call it asleep. So they will not be reading your emails, they will not be going to your website, they will not be very responsive, yet they will be still on your list. But if you keep sending them the same content, they will not get back to you, they will not go back to you, but everyone else in the future that signs up to this list will have a lower chance of receiving this email because of the deliverability issues. The higher the open and click-through rates you have, the more chances are that in the future, more other people that will sign up to your list will receive the same message. So it is bad to blindly believe that the bigger the list, the better. You should at all times look at who's signing up to your list, who's reading your messages, but also managing list hygiene. So you should be easily managing opt-outs, complaint rates, and stuff like that. So you should be able to distinguish between different segments of groups, different segments of audiences, and deliver them different content. So the solution, as you can imagine here, is observe, test, and optimize your whole communication. At this point, you can imagine what we can do here. There's plenty of things that you can do. So if you're running an email marketing campaign for quite a bit of time and you're not very satisfied with the results, you have perhaps low open rates, low deliverability, high complaint rates, you need to locate the problem. You need to look at the elements that have influence over that and then try to fix it. So if you have low open rates, think of the elements that affect it. So it could be the subject line, the from line, the pre-header, or the low deliverability. If you have low deliverability, what can you do? Well, you should talk to your ESP how to improve it. You need to divide your list into segments and try to re-engage your audience, just like here Ralph Lauren did. So this is a great email to people that abandoned their cart, but also an idea how you can re-engage your audience if they, for example, haven't been purchasing your products for a while or opening your emails in the past. You can send them an email asking them to come back to their cart, or just present them with a promotional code if they want to be on your list. And here Envato is taking a different approach. So instead of having different groups and campaigns, they decided to merge them together. But you cannot just assume that people that were interested in your content, they will also want to learn about your promotional offerings and stuff like that. So instead of just putting together those lists and sending everything to everyone, they decided to send out an email saying, hey, we're merging the lists and you'll be getting this and this and that. So these are all the perks that you're going to get. But in case you don't want to be on this list, please don't click on this link, just ignore this message and you'll never hear from us again. And this is how you should be going about this. You should be locating the problems and fixing them straight away. And from testing, you can learn quite a bit. Here's a great example of how tests should be done. So you probably have heard about email campaigns that Barack Obama was doing when he was running for presidency in the last elections. So what they did, they were sending out the same email up to even 18 different groups of audience. So they were dividing their list into 18 segments and coming out with different subject lines to make sure to find out which one is the best performing one. And if they divided their list this way, for example, sending 18 versions to, let's say, 5% of their list, they could have sent the best performing one to the next group or the next one or the next one. Here, as you can see, they've also noted how much more money they've earned because of choosing the best performing subject line. So that's how you should be going about tests. Of course, you don't have to go that far and prepare 18 versions of the same subject line, but preparing a few of them will be helpful and you'll be able to optimize your campaigns. And if you cannot come up with ideas how to optimize your lists or how to optimize your communication, just look at the different elements of your email. Every single thing can be tested. So subject lines, like in the Barack Obama case, if you prepare 5 different versions of the same email, send it out to 5% of your audience, and pick up the best performing one, you can actually optimize and improve your results significantly. And the same goes for from names or content. Content is very important, and even if you have just one featured product, one main promotional that you want to discuss in the email, try different blocks at the bottom of the email and personalize them for your audience. Just show them something that they will be interested in, they might be interested in based on your assumptions, and you can see that it could perform better. And as you can see here on the right example, you have the same block of content. I just made it gray, but you can make the same block of content in different areas of email using the same call to action button, and you can see whether this is going to perform equally. Obviously, you're gonna think that at the top is better, but if you send out two different versions, you can see whether people are that significantly interested in it, and they will keep on scrolling to see whether you have some special offer for them. So this is it for our 8 conversion killers and ways to optimize your campaigns, how to fix your funnel. And now we will have a short Q&A session. We've got a few minutes, so if you'd like to ask us, Erin and I can answer them for you. Feel free to ask us any questions.
New yet? Yeah, there was a couple questions a little bit earlier I can bring back up. Looks like Deborah was asking.
I was just going to say, I think there was one about mobile bidding, the difference in keywords bidding for mobile versus desktop. I can answer that one quickly. It's very simple. Essentially, with paid search, you can set a desktop bid and then a mobile bid modifier. So that's a percentage that will overlay on your keyword bid anytime the word is appearing on mobile. So you can do anything from a negative bid all the way up to a multiplier, or you can keep it at 0, meaning that you're bidding the same for mobile and desktop. But you don't have to set separate bids altogether for mobile. It's just a bid modifier.
And we've got some new questions in, so I'm just putting them there at the bottom of the chat pod here, guys. So.
Sure, Erin. I think there are some more for you, so feel free to answer them if you can.
Okay. It looks like there's a bunch of questions about bidding. So without getting too much into detail, essentially, when you're running paid search, you do have to set a bid for every keyword that you include in your account. So it's the keyword bidding, I think, as Deborah was asking. And it looks like there was also a question about how to redirect a visitor back to their website through paid ads. So that was specifically with regards to remarketing. Essentially with remarketing, you can set it up in Google Analytics or in AdWords. And there's a number of different ways you can set it up to target people differently. But essentially you can cookie someone who's already visited your site and then enable ads to show up throughout the Google Display Network to encourage them to return to your site. You can also do what we call RLSA, remarketing lists for search ads, meaning that you're showing ads on the search engine results page to people who have already been to your site, and perhaps you'd like to bid up because they are more likely to return than the average visitor. Also looks like there's Oh, no worries. It looks like there's a question other than Facebook and Google, if you recommend any other PPC. WordStream, we typically solely focus on just Facebook and AdWords, but personally, we've been dabbling a little bit with Twitter. We've seen some good results, so that might be something you wish to explore.
And okay, I'm so sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but we do kind of are running out of time, I think, for our final question. So maybe Erin and Michael, I just want to say, your kind of final goodbyes, and I can close us out.
Sure. Okay, yeah, I can see one more question, so let me just quickly answer that for this one for Nick. if 10% of the list is opening their emails, how can we know what percentage of the unopened went into junk? And this is quite a problematic question, because normally you don't find out the specific percentage of people that, you know, they do not get the emails because they're in the junk, or some of them are rejected by their ISP, etc. So what you can do is re-engage them via, for example, Facebook. So export the list that did not open and use custom audiences to re-engage them. You can use the same with Google AdWords. You can talk to your ESP. If you, for example, use dedicated IP addresses, then you can get whitelisted through, for example, return path, and you can then increase your inbox rate. If you're whitelisted with them, then you can straight away go into the inbox, for example, for Outlook.com and some other partners of theirs. So you should be taking slow to contact the audiences that are not getting any emails from you. But yeah, it's a longer project. So if you could drop me an email, I'd be happy to answer this for you. So yeah, Erin, do you have any other comments?
I don't think so. It was a pleasure to meet with you guys. And again, if anybody has questions, I know paid search can be a little bit overwhelming and it's a lot to learn. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly on Twitter, and I can answer any questions that you guys have.
Thanks as well. Here are our email addresses and Twitter handles. So if you want to contact us, feel free to do so. We'll be sending out the recording to this webinar, so you can always reach out to us.
Certainly. Thank you so much again, Michael and Erin, and thank all of you for joining us today. You were a great audience, had a lot of good questions. And before we say goodbye today, I do want to briefly let you guys know that we do have a Get Response Christmas promo going on for some exclusive pricing for Christmas. So it's going to be 15% off all of the plans that you see. And so we have a promo code here exclusively for you guys listed. And so in case you guys are interested in having a look at that, you can see we've just posted it there. And I'll also post it in the chat pod for easy copying and pasting for you guys if you're interested. And so just wanted to alert you guys to this before we lose you today. So again, it's 15% off of all packages. This is valid until the 17th, so we've got 2 more days. And this package is also valid for free trials and people who don't yet have a Get Response account. So those of you who are already on our pro plans, keep your eyes out for future promo. We're really highlighting you guys, but for this particular, we are focusing on offering this for free trials and those not yet with us on Get Response. So again, this is available until the 17th, so a couple more days. So that's the end of my little commercial, and I want to thank you guys so much again for joining. Please have a great rest of your day, great holiday season, and thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.